Well, hi there, racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Winning Ways, where Laf and I are going to run through some very interesting tidbits we've got in current affairs. And we've got part two of Jack Ramsey. Now, I know he was very well received last week, and we were lucky to be able to get him to carry on chatting. And this is part two, and it's a good half hour of most interesting storytelling. And he's a man of unbelievable knowledge.
Very interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to him. The guys from yesteryear really have got some great tales, and people think they're making it up because the game's changed a lot, but they're not. It's really, really interesting, and it's always good to get a bit of that influence in the show.
Well, what was interesting about Jack is that he obviously got on very well with everyone. As a reporter, I suppose you've got to. But there's certain people you can hear who is real favourites that he loved chatting to and loved being involved with. And he really gives us a story or two.
Yeah, he's been around the block.
Right.
Jack.
Right, let's get straight on and go and have a look at our three to follow. Well, we're going to Ready to Run sales time, and we're going to have Tom Callahan on the show next week, so that will be very interesting to hear what he's got to say.
Yeah, it's a very interesting build-up. It's a big race. I believe there's no consolation race. We heard last week. It's just the 3 million race for the Ready to Run, and again, the interest is high. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, and there's 2 sets of gallops this year, which is quite interesting. Look, there's always one in Joburg for the Joburg horses and one at Summerhill. But I was told by Nicola Copes, who runs Balmoral, that they are having their gallops at Yellow Star. So I think that it's around the 23rd of October is the gallops at Yellow Star for all their horses. And they've got a huge draft. They've got 60 horses. Wow. And my goodness, they do a good job.
So how big is the total numbers? Maybe Tom will tell us what type of numbers we're looking at up there.
We'll get the whole story from Tom. But Nicola told me they're having their gallops at Yellow Star, which will be very interesting. And she says the other innovation that they've done is that all the horses will have X-rays available for them at the sale, plus. Which is a huge plus.
Huge plus, When you do, I know, changing tack from it, when I was speaking to Michael de Kock, how much it cost him to go and X-ray Mars and go get it vetted out to purchase the horse, It's a lot of money, And so if it's a big advantage if your horses are X-rayed. A lot of countries are going to that, James.
Yeah.
You come to sales, they've been scoped, they've been X-rayed.
Well, in Australia, I know at Magic Millions, you can go to the repository and you can go and see anything you like there with a vet, and they'll show you any horse that you're interested in. So it's a very big plus. But it's going to be a great sale, they're ready to run. And let's go and have a look at what we've got that you can follow now.
Okay, here we go. The first one we got to Set Your Sights. This is an unraced horse, Bernard Faydurb, riding it for Joey Ramsden. Slightly slow out in the orange silks and gets a punch along to get up there. Gets it beautifully placed, and the eventual winner is Golf Storm. It's from the Brett Crawford stable. That's going to lead in the black colours now. That wins a very good race. But the horse we found is now in 5th in orange, and just niggled to keep his position because it's its debut run.
Interesting, Gulf Storm. Glenn Hatt, I think, is now riding for the stable and is a stable rider for the Crawfords and done very well with them.
Rides a lot of winners.
Carice has gone to Hong Kong, so he got the job, and he always used to ride for Joey Ramsden. I think this is Joey Ramsden's horse, this horse, Set Your Sights.
Yes, it is. And here you can see Glenn Hatt sets sail for home, gives a slap down the neck to Golf Storm. He wins a good race. He gallops on well from the front, but the horse we found finds daylight. Bernard's really asking him to run now, this chestnut, and he quickens up. For a stage or two, I thought, well, here he comes, the unraced. Well, he's just so dumb. He's run towards the horse and he's outside. He's run away from it. And here I thought he was going to get up, James, but very green.
Very green indeed. He had to change his stick then. You realise he just punched him out to the finish. I think he'll improve remarkably on this run, and should be a bet next time.
I agree with you. Yep, that's one to follow there.
Right, we're going to move on to the next one, which was at Scottsville, and that was on Sunday. And Alison Wright has got herself together a very nice bunch of horses. And this Son of Dynasty well worth having a look at. A horse called Family Fortune, really nice horse.
Yeah, very nice horse. It's drawn towards the inside. Your eventual winner, Catalina Blues, is I think odds on in this race. And Catalina Blues is down the inside. Well, it goes down the inside. It's on its outside initially with the noseband. That's your winner. But right in behind it, also with a black cap, is the horse we found called Family Fortune. This is by Dynasty.
Yeah, he's next door to the horse, the other stable companion, Disky, who's got the white face, and that was ridden by Claessens. Brandon rode Family Fortune, Brandon Larena, and I think with a one run under the belt, this horse will improve quite a lot, because Catalina Blues has got very good form, run second his last two starts in quite strong company.
Out in front with his ears pricked with Arthur Marcus going well, and in behind it is Family Fortune. The two right horses are second and third now, looking to be the dangers to the odds-on favourite. It drifts off the inside fence, and Brandon takes it back and tries to get it to have a go at this favourite. It runs a very good race, and Be by Dynasty, James, there's every possibility it's going to go further.
Most definitely. It's a very nice looking horse, and we think that she'll definitely improve. Was she named Family Fortune? Did they spend the fortune to buy her, the Family Fortune?
I don't know what it cost, but they can have a bit of fun. They'll get a little bit back of their fortune. Here, it just tires in the end, having gone hard, and the stablemate grabs it for second. But keep an eye on that. That's Family Fortune.
The third horse we got was the next race, the second race, and they put the money down like soldiers on this horse, and Rais is his name, imported, Mike the Cock, and apparently rumoured to be unbeatable. Rumoured to be unbeatable.
Unfortunately, fluffed its lines at the gates, or for my mind, would not have won. Always at it, the rider, and chased it all the way around. A horse was never really given much chance to settle. I think this is going to improve big time, because it's only beaten by another very inspiring ride by Arthur.
Yeah, let's go and have a look at this, and you'll see exactly what we mean.
It's actually the one next to that, I think, James. Yeah, it's the one next to that, Trap 4. It comes out in the famous Shake Mo colours. It's last, yellow sleeves, been scrubbed. And
they get two smacks.
Correct.
You know, never given a chance to settle in. At him. And then he gets into the race, but he's second last, basically on the fence, second last.
A lot of horses in front of him.
Horse just doesn't seem to be able to just find his feet and let him lob along. And that he ran as well as he did is testament to what a good horse he might be. And this certainly looks like a horse to follow through, because he was very unluckily beaten. Here he's on top of the horse in front of him, but he's still getting scrubbed along.
Very
green as can be. And the winner is up fifth. Anton Marcus is ready to pounce. Blue blinkers just comes through to go and win his race. And look at this horse now.
He's getting a smack early. He's really getting smacked.
Comes right to the right-hand side. Now
the outside.
He's been at him from the 400. And now he gets into him some more. He goes out of picture. Millimeter, his form with the blinkers, one run with the blinkers was fantastic. And this horse looks like he's going to grab him, but he just now there falters, you know. And I think he's just been got into completely. And you know, I don't know if it's going to do him any good, but
he looks useful. He looks very, very useful. As I say, he never had a chance to basically take a second wind, and he was hustled and bustled, and he ran on. Sign of a horse with a lot of ability. Keep an eye on Rais.
Right, we're going to move on, and we're going to have a look at the Emerald Cup. That's the big race meeting this weekend, and as you know, the richest race on sand in Africa. And last year's result was very interesting. Mike the Cock, Anton Marcus, and Meadow Magic. We're going to take you back there.
Field sent on its way from the 1450 metre mark in the running of the Emerald Cup. And out well was Meadow Magic, and with it as prime mover in the early stages. In third is Captain Secret. Then Kiss again, and they race their 4 lengths off that leader right now. Beacon Flare behind them. Astro News is further back and 5 off the leader. Carroll's Law, Callanish, Eastern Cobbler run behind them. 7-8 lengths off the leaders now as they start their way round the turn. The Mouseketeer behind that lot. Mr. Tobin's on the stand side in the blue cap and the white blinkers, back about 9 or 10 off the leader. Follow the Piper is further back across the ice, by the way, is on the far inside in the yellow cap as they travel to the 700 metre marker. Prime Mover on the inside. Meadow Magic is there, followed by Captain Secret away in third. Beacon Flares 3 lengths off the leader. Across the ice runs behind that lot. Then the Mouseketeer. Carroll's Law, they got 4 or 5 lengths to find on the leader. Astro News further back. Mr. Tobin got a warm up, has got 7 lengths to find on the leader as Meadow Magic comes through and picks it up with 300 metres left to go. From Beacon Flare, who's back in the second spot. Captain Secret across the ice is back on the far inside. Captain Secret and across the ice are coming at Meadow Magic. Beacon Flare is further back in the field. It's Meadow Magic. Captain Secret is wearing it down all the while. Meadow Magic as they go to the line. Beacon Flare running on. Here's the line. Meadow Magic won the Emerald Cup. Meadow Magic, Beacon Flare, Captain Secret on the inside.
Well, there you go. What a race it was. And Anton Marcus at his brilliant best, and it shows you what it's like to have the best rider around on board.
He's a really, really a great rider. He rode it from the front very carefully. The Beacon Flare was tuned up the turf late, again across the ice, a great run. And Walter's horse, very good run.
Very good run from Cape Town. Interesting. Do you think it's affected Marcus, the thumb problem?
No, he bounced a couple of winners out yesterday. I think
So
his thumb's
it
back.
doesn't make any difference to ride with 8 fingers and 1 thumb.
No, it doesn't, because he can still text. He still
Is that so?
Your Prince told us he got the text earlier. I want to ride the Milliman Nesta, whatever it's called. So Arthur's back.
Well, interesting, they must have texted Mike Pappas as well yesterday. He had a ride for Mike Pappas. I think that's the first in his career.
Yeah, he got the wrong one of Mark's. Mark won the last race. Mark came in with the 8-year-old, beat all the 3-year-old fillies, some very useful 3-year-old fillies, and he went for Fat Chance instead.
Well, it just shows you. He should have taken the whole lot. Said maybe it's Pappas's day, take out all his rides.
That's right.
Anyway, good luck to Mike and the team up there. Nice to see them have a winner. And Anton...
This year, be a great race, Emerald Cup. It always is a tough race, James.
Yeah, as they string them out, there are horses there that really go on the sand. I see that horse Pylon been given a lot of weight in the race, and apparently he's a new sand specialist. It's going to be great fun this Saturday at Vaal. They have all types of entertainment. I know that they've got
DJ, what's his name?
Toya DeLazy.
DJ what's he? Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel, yeah. He's named after that.
Vin Diesel.
Yeah, Vin Diesel.
Yeah, this is Vin Diesel.
He's a scarp.
Yeah. Is Polisie car going to be there?
Polisie car, ek weet nie. Ek sal vir jou sê wie sal daar wees.
Oh, you got the James
I've got it here.
Got a list of who's going to be there.
I'm going to see now who's going to be there.
DJ
No, I can't
Vin
see it. It's
Diesel.
not.
Fantastic name.
Yeah, but
And Polisie car. Who else are going to be there?
Dikasa,
Who's Dikasa?
Mikasa.
Oh, Mikasa. What does that mean?
My
Marquesas.
house.
Oh, my house.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mikasa, but
big
they're
guy.
they're a Spanish group.
Spanish, lovely.
Mikasa,
So we're getting
yeah.
Spanish, Scarp.
Yeah.
Any English music there?
No, definitely not. This is the Vaal, but
It's a Vaal.
Vaal is in the Free
Bra
State.
flaces
Yeah,
and-
yeah, it's going to be a flat-out chore.
No, it always is.
Emerald Cup, they all go there.
They've
and
got
they
the
play
golf day
golf
before.
there.
That's
Oh,
right.
my goodness gracious.
It'll be great fun if you can get down there.
Kuni de Beer and Unlucky, How Do You Like Us? They'll all be
The Greek
there.
hang glider. Yeah, they'll all be there. The Emerald Cup. It's a wonderful, wonderful
Yeah, it
weekend.
is probably the highlight of the Vaal calendar.
The Poiki courses.
There's a competition.
A competition.
Yeah, no,
Is your Poiki better than my Poiki? Okay. So get that
My
right. It's
Burry
this
roll's
weekend.
better than yours.
Yeah,
That's
James
for
has got a wonderful burry roll recipe.
Yeah, okay.
And you can nod that forward, you know.
No, I'm not going to let anyone know that.
Not
Are you
anyone know.
mad? What are you crazy? We're going to move on. I'm going to keep it for next year when I go up there and raid them. Plum of the week. We'll have a look at this one.
Dahl is over towards the outside. Beautiful Bella. Further back to Rose Veracini. Plenty with chances into the last 200. St. Clair's in front. Exceptional up the inside. Now switches on. Further back to Rose Veracini, who's also coming out the pack. Speed Dahl further back, but Exceptional's in front. And Andrew Fortune's ridden Exceptional to victory. Second goes to Passionate Kiss. Then came Rose Veracini and Beautiful Bella.
Well, you know why we picked this out? Because you could get 6.5 to 1 about this Andrew Fortune ridden Exceptional, and exceptional to see him back.
Well, wonderful to see Mana back. He's just one of the great riders, and he's a very kind rider, and don't often see him going for the stick like he did there.
6.5 to 1 on Interbet. That was a huge price. You know, these Interbet prices are just ridiculous. You can get to 15 to 20% better than you can anywhere else, and great to see Fortune back. The interview was.
Is there a word on the ground he might be going to Mauritius?
I hear he's going to Mauritius. How he's going to get down to the weight that apparently they have to ride at a weight in Mauritius. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe Mana's got his body right back because he's some rider. Sure, well, I'm a great fan of his.
I think he's a bit worried, young Mana.
Why is that?
Well, he's got a son coming through, a grandson or a nephew. There's all these Fortune, the whole Fortune crew.
He's procreated a few times, hasn't he?
Did you see Shadley arrived last week and had his first ride?
No, sadly I didn't.
Shadley, not sadly. Shadley's the young Fortune at the Academy. He had his first ride the other day.
Oh, good. So they, well, he's got something to look forward to.
Aldo?
Grandfather, eh?
Yeah. No, he's firing.
He's fine. He's a great rider.
Good boy, Andy.
Yeah, well done, Andrew.
We're proud of you, pal.
We're proud of you.
Right, and we're going to move on and have a look at current affairs.
All right, welcome back. Current affairs. Always interesting to find out what's happening. A lot of international news coming through, and James has been touching base with Michael de Kock and finding out about a few things, a couple of law changes going on from around the world. But with regard to features, nothing in this country at the moment.
No, we've got the Emerald Cup's the next big one. But, you know, and certainly even overseas, there's nothing big at the moment getting ready with the Pennsylvania Derby.
Well, they're looking forward to what's the Arc now?
Yeah, I think Europe, they're looking forward to the Arc, and America, there's nothing really going on. And Australia, they're starting to get their horses ready for the Spring Carnival there, you know. So
I see there was, funny enough, there was an objection in Germany. And Viv Monsieur, the third horse, got placed first. The front two were pushed down to third and fourth, and there's appeals being lodged. And interesting, bit of drama in Europe.
Okay.
Well, but James, let's get going on. But let's talk about Keeneland first. You dug up the stats.
Well, Keeneland has been running for about 12 days now. And, you know, we had that big meltdown, the financial meltdown 2008.
Lehman Brothers.
Yeah, well, they were part of it, you know. There were a few boys that had their fingers in the cookie jar. They all seemed to get away. None of them went to jail today.
Madoff went to jail. Bernie Madoff went to jail.
But Bernie was a scapegoat, you know. All the other boys, there were 50.
He was the whole flock.
There was a million of them who all were, you know, caused a
funny enough, just touching on Madoff, bright guy.
Bright guy?
Yeah, no, listen, criminal. Sharp, but what a bright guy.
From my old stomping ground, Delray Beach there, Boca Raton, you know.
You know, maybe a lot of, that's your area, Florida.
Yeah, that's where Johnny's going.
Okay, I didn't know that, but just Bernie Madoff, he, when he first took a seat on the stock market, he had just started. He had $30,000 clients' money. And what happened? The stock market went boom.
Yeah.
And everyone was gone. And he went to his aunt and he said, listen, lend me $30,000 and I'll sort out. So it went to all his clients, said, I lost nothing.
Okay, we're going to take a break because we've got a race, and we'll be back with Bernie Madoff and the rest of the story.
Right, James and I were just talking about Bernie Madoff, and what happened was, James, his clients, and those, he had just started, $30,000. Everybody had gone rock bottom. They'd done millions. And he was a new boy, and he said to his aunt, lend me $30,000. I've got a good scheme. I didn't lose any money in the crash. So she lent him 30. He went to every one of his clients and said, here's your money back. I didn't lose a cent. They said, no, keep it. You're a genius. And the word got out he was a genius. That's what got him started. Luckily, right place, right time, right amount, having an aunt horse. He'd have been buried. He'd been out with the washing. And Bernie got this name of being a whiz kid, which he was a bright guy.
Yeah.
So that was the getting back to the era of the crash. Now we can get back to Keeneland.
Okay, well, Keeneland, obviously all the prices went down while the world economy and everything's been building again. But obviously, and I tell you, it's amazing how the horse business reflects what the economy is all about, because the average this year is up 24%.
That's
massive. At Keeneland, which is massive. But the first time six-figure average, it's a $100,000 average over the sale, has been achieved since 2007. So we haven't even achieved 2007 yet, but $100,000 average over 2,500 horses being sold.
Correct. That's what people seem to forget, how many horses they sell. I know Vin Cox goes over from Australia, and he represents them there, and he said it is so strong. So for the breeders out there and people out there thinking it's going through a bad time, it's picking up all over the world, James.
Yeah, and I think that it's going to pick up here. The two things that hold this country back are the protocols, which are
export and import.
Export and, well, those are the protocols, the two protocols. The export and import protocols are ridiculous, and the cost of transport, because the problem is that they tied into the protocols.
Yeah.
So you've got these months and months and months. Mike said to me, if you want to get a horse to Dubai, $50,000 to get a horse to Dubai. That's what it costs.
That's $500,000 to get a horse there.
To get a horse to Dubai.
And you haven't even had a canter yet. No, that's outrageous. They've got him.
And we can get on an aeroplane, and you can send some freight over there for probably $2,000 or $3,000, taking up the same space.
That is the killer. You know, you got these palace. Michael said to me, he's got horses coming into the country, and you know, you just got to have one horse have a snotty nose, and you can sit in quarantine for 2-3 months.
Well, that's just happened apparently.
Yeah, I know it's happened, and it's the imports. They've got to sort it out. Export and import have got to sort it out. We're having problems getting horses in. The prices are exorbitant. But that's for another day, James.
Let me go on from in America. Belmont, they've got the Jockey Club Gold Cup coming up, which is their big race at Belmont. And there was a very interesting article in the Thoroughbred Times about how they're stepping up their security as far as the horses are concerned, and their testing, because we're going to be talking about testing later on. They're going to blood test out of competition all these horses to make sure that they've got no illegal substances in them.
Sorry, out of competition meaning?
Meaning any time they can walk into your barn and they can take a bit of blood off the horse and test it, and they're going to test all the probable horses for the Jockey Club Gold Cup, make sure there are no anabolic steroids. That's a big one.
The big one. It's massive worldwide now.
And it's become a big thing. And just on that, the Australians banned anabolic steroids completely last week. Complete ban on them, no more.
They shouldn't be in the country, basically.
Well, absolutely, and they were the biggest producers, remember, of anabolic steroids. I think they had a company called 3M or whatever that produced.
But James said, tell me, when you say you've got this, does it trotters, paces, whatever they
everything.
have?
Everything. It's certainly in the thoroughbred industry. It is banned.
Thoroughbred is banned, so you cannot have, on a farm, you cannot have a steroid?
Well, what they've done is they've given a window period, and I wonder when our NHA is going to get off their backsides and go and do the same, because we've been pushing for this for a long, long time. They know that I've been at the forefront of pushing this ban on anabolic steroids. I know Mike de Kock is a very, very anti-anabolic steroids, and he's written a number of letters to Pillay and de Kock telling them that they should ban them. And the Australians, the 1st of November, no more anabolic steroids, and there'll be a window period allowing the horses to clear.
To excrete, okay, so that's very, very interesting. Now, I know the British are very, very anti.
Well, they clamped right down when they got Al Saruni and all those horses. You know, that showed what teeth they've got. And interestingly enough, just moving on to the British, Mike de Kock had his first winner as a British trainer on Thursday.
As a British trainer. So what's he licensed with him?
Well, what happened was he told me that Paul Bitter called him in, who's the Australian who runs British racing, who's the head of the BHA. He called him in and said to him, listen, we need to give you a British trainer's license because you can't train on the South African trainer's license because you're restricted. Apparently,
to
you can
features.
run in features.
Correct.
And so he went and applied for the license. He said they were extremely helpful, and they gave him
not costly.
Not costly. He says
these are things that we've got to bring up, James, because it's costly here.
It's ridiculously expensive.
It's very expensive.
Everything
you bring a guy
expensive.
here wants to train here from overseas, give him a license, get him registered, give him authority to act. It's a very costly exercise. Dubai, it's free. England, I don't know what it is, but it seems like Mark's very pleased with the setup.
Well, it's his first winner he had at Yarmouth. They backed it, the Pike he rode it.
Wednon.
Yeah, Wednan.
Wednan.
Expensive yearly.
Yeah, you're 450,000 euros, so that's a lot of money for a horse. And it's a beautiful horse. And as James says, the Parky rode it, and there wasn't shortage of a few bob in it.
There certainly was. Mike said to me he thought it would win when he left here to go to England, where he is now. And he said he ran another one that ran second the week before. And
Yeah, very nice horse.
You know, he's got a lot of young horses, and he's now gone for a month to England to take up his British trainer's license.
James, just touch on that. Do you think the protocols have made him say, listen, I'm going to send horses to England to race now instead of bringing them in here? Because this was his breeding, and not his breeding ground, his preparation ground, South Africa.
Well,
could it change because of the protocols?
Yeah, it could easily be. You know, and I think that we're going to see less and less of Mike de Kock, because a big British season next year, if he's got big horses getting ready for big races there, he's going to be there. And you know, he goes to Dubai for 3 months or 4 months of the year.
Well, we wish him well, and we always do. He's a great trainer. We obviously would like to see some of these big horses run here.
All right, and now let's just move on, because we haven't got much time before we get Jack. Just China had its first internationally recognized race meeting over the weekend on Saturday in
Hot.
You know where that is?
Everything in hot.
Yeah.
It's in Mongolia, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but Inner Mongolia.
Is it Inner Mongolia?
And it was hot there.
Was it hot?
Anyway, Gav Larina rode the winner of the sprint. We had 3 representatives there that took jockeys from all over the world. Morera rode there, and Shay rode there. Probably
Samanga.
Yeah, Samanga rode there as
Samanga,
well.
Kamala.
But Gavin Larina rode one of the big races.
3 very good riders.
Absolutely fantastic. Really thrilled for him.
It'd be great to get hold of Shay's in the province when he gets back, to find out what the conditions were like, how it was policed, how it was done.
Well,
it'd be very interesting.
I'll tell you what came off the websites was that 39 international horses took part, which they had bought internationally, and a whole lot of horses that they'd got locally took part. So they got all these horses, but China is going to be a huge area of import of horses in the next 5 to 10 years.
Our breeders should be just moving them over there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Shall we call it a day as far as current affairs
Yeah, I
concerned?
think
And let's
we've
go and
covered.
see what Jack's got to say.
Yeah, let's talk to Jack again.
Jack Ramsey coming up for you under your call, and there's the second part of his interview that we had last week. Have a great week's racing from James and Paul. Enjoy. Well, there we are. Last week we had the Anita Akel Award winner, Jack Ramsey, in studio, and we got him in again this week. And Jack, great to be able to continue with this discussion with you this week, because we only touched the tip of the iceberg. Horses we were chatting about, and you mentioned Secretariat as the greatest you'd ever seen. But here in South Africa, you remember some of those old horses that did phenomenal things.
Yes, I do. Java, for instance, 3 summer handicaps.
But the amazing thing about Jarvie was how he did it.
Yes, he had, I think, 1 race in between each of his victories.
Didn't Ivan Moore ride him?
No, Ivan Moore was down to ride him. He would have ridden the big double because he won the Dingons a week or so previous, and he was down to ride Java. And the meeting started at Turffontein and came down very heavy rain, so they stopped after the first race. And they continued with the meeting on the Monday, but over the weekend they took Ivan off Java and put Tigerata, and Java won.
Ivan must have been distraught.
Shame. Yeah, he was. He was an apprentice in those days. He was an appy, actually.
But there's a rider who's a very good rider,
Yes,
and a
he was.
nice man.
He's a very nice man, yes, yeah. Well, he's still around, and he's a good trainer too.
Yeah, very good trainer with very limited opportunities.
That's right, yeah. True.
But I remember when he used to come down from Zimbabwe and ride for Ricky Ginsburg.
Oh, yes, yes, yeah.
Every now and again we used to see Ivan cruising them.
Yes.
Well dressed, neat, dapper.
That's right.
Yeah, and a very good horseman.
Always been like that, yes. But I think Java was a great horse. But there's a little grey horse. I don't think many people remember him, Casbar.
Yeah, it was before my time.
Casbar was a Galloway, was a pony.
Is that Rathbones?
Yes, Les Rathbone trained him. And he in those days they had measured racing.
Well, yeah, explain that, because people out there won't have any idea today.
14-1 hands was a Galloway, and the whole meetings at Turfentine, it was called the Transvaal Racing Club then, at Turfentine.
That's right.
And they only had Galloway racing. All their races was for measured horses. And Casbar was one of them. And he was phenomenal. He won the Chairman's over 6 furlongs.
Yeah.
He won the Dingons over a mile, and then he won the Summer Handicap. And he's the easiest Summer Handicap you've ever seen. He absolutely paralysed the field. He was in the winning post. They were just coming through the 200-metre mark. It was a great. I don't think any other horse ever won like that.
And you're saying he was the only 14-1 hand horse. Was it 14-1 or 14-3?
Yeah, 14-1.
14-1.
Yeah.
And then, just talking about Turfentine, then became 2 racing clubs, the Johannesburg Turf
That's
Club
right.
and the Transvaal Racing Club.
Well, they both ran. They were both in working at the same time, but they had different meetings, you know. But the Transvaal Racing Club was only for measured horses.
Yeah.
And there were many in those days. Many Galloways, as they called them.
Les Rathbone is related to Jimmy Lithgow. I think.
Yes.
Jimmy
that's
married
right.
his daughter.
He did, yes.
Yeah. You know Jimmy?
Yes, I know Jimmy well, a good friend of mine.
Yeah. He's a very, very, very informed scribe as well, isn't he?
He is, yes.
And quite a good actor, they tell me.
I believe so, yes. I've never seen him act.
Have you never seen the
never
movie
seen Jimmy act, no.
Invictus, where he says, all our sheep for all your gold, or all our gold for all your sheep, to the guy before the Rugby World Cup when they're having a bet.
No, I haven't seen it.
you got to watch it. It's an Oscar-winning performance from
yes,
Jimmy.
yeah.
Talking about horses, okay, Casbar, Java people were trained by Len Oates, by Jackie Butler.
Yeah. Oh, he was a great trainer, Jackie. Jackie made very few mistakes, but he couldn't afford to the way they bet.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys used to go around unlimited and bet. No, they had millions on horses.
Yeah.
As Len Oates said when Brookhill won the July, he said, any bloke wins the July and doesn't win 6 figures is stupid.
And we're talking about the old days, that was pounds.
That's right, yeah.
And then obviously some of the latter day trainers that we know well, Sid Laird must be one of the best.
Sid Laird, and the greatest was Terence Millard.
Yeah.
Terence in a class by himself.
He's a great horseman as well, wasn't he?
Terence, when he told you horse was going to win, there was no arguments.
Yeah.
And moreover, he was able to tell you what he had to beat, and invariably the horse he told you he had to beat ran second.
Yeah.
You know?
So you caught the exactors here as well.
Yeah. He was really good, Terence. I mean, I went to his place at Milnerton. He was a super trainer. He left nothing to chance. Every horse that galloped, he stood, had to listen to him breathing afterwards, and go and look at what the horse had left in the manger. He went himself personally, and so he did everything. Sundays, Mondays, he just lived horses. Yeah. And he was great.
I know he wasn't that good a polo player. No, we beat them up a couple of times on the polo ground, Terence. Yeah. But maybe he didn't have enough time because he was training the horses. But
you remember him saying to me when Mark Anthony won the Met, he said, "Jack, this is the easiest winner you'll ever see." And he's right. It was. He cantered from the start and beat them absolutely.
What do you want by about 8 lengths? I think.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, then the horse Chestnut obviously was just an easy winner of the Met.
That's
How do you rate Mike de Kock?
Oh, he's a great. Mark's also a great trainer, I think. Oh, Mark's another one. He's another super guy. He's a professional. You know, he leaves nothing to chance either. He's got a great team as well. And Mark, you know, he's spread his wings and he's done remarkably well overseas, I mean.
But today things have changed. You know, in those days, I think Terence used to have stables of 40 or 50 horses.
That's
today,
right.
Mike's got 300,
300
all over the world.
Yes,
you know.
that's right.
You've
It must
got to
be
have
difficult
people.
for Mike. I mean, to have, you know, race Joburg here, overseas, and he does fantastically well.
Talking about obviously one of the greats as far as the July is concerned, you went to how many 71
71 Julys I've seen.
consecutive Julys?
Yes. Well, I had a break. I was in the Navy for 6 years because my first July was 1936 when Petersfield, the second one. He beat it. Afros was the favourite, hot pot favourite that year. Petersfield, a big chestnut, lovely looking horse, and he won. That was my first July.
And then you, after, obviously in the war years, the 6 years, you never went.
I was away for 6 years. When I came back, I saw St Paul's win the July, first July.
St Paul's, was that Goss's horse?
That was a Galloway.
Yeah.
Yeah, ridden by Georgie Foster.
Yeah.
Jumped over a bicycle. Somebody left a bicycle on the track. You know,
was he in front and he jumped over the bicycle?
Yeah, he led all the way, St Paul's.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely amazing. But Sid Laird was the greatest July trainer that we've seen.
Well, yes, you look at his record.
Yeah.
Although Terence would have beaten him, I think, if he'd stayed on.
Yeah.
You know, he
had him in his sights.
Had him in. Well, he was one less, wasn't he? Yeah. And he handed over to Tony.
Yeah, I think the greatest disappointment for Terence was Empress Club. She was favourite, and I think she would have doddled the July.
That's
they
right.
took her out the day before, the day of the race.
That's right. Yeah.
But just talking about Sid Laird, Sea Cottage. Do you remember all that?
Yeah, he was a great horse, Sea Cottage. Yes, he was a strange horse. He used to ride the jockey.
Yeah.
You couldn't ride him. Yeah. He used to be tailed off on all his races, and then produce this fantastic finish. And in the early days, I said to Robert Silverwright, who rode him in all these races, "Why aren't you up with the pace?" He said, "He won't go up there. He just won't." He said, "That's the way he races, and that's the way I've got to ride him."
But then he said that. But then he went to Joburg for I think there was the
match race,
the big race that they put him against.
Yes, Magic
Mirror.
Yeah.
And he
well,
was
that was a two-horse race,
yeah.
a match race. Yeah, well, that with the two horses he was there. But most of his in the July came from way back to dead heat with Jollify.
Yeah, well, Jollify had to be one of the best riding exhibitions John Gorton ever had in his career.
He was unlucky to lose, actually, I think, you know, as the race was run. First of all, John was 2 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
Secondly, in a race at Clearwood, he hit the rails and the iron buckled on his ankle. They had to cut it off. And when he rode in the July, he had an injection in his one ankle, painkiller, to help him.
Yeah.
And that must have been a terrific handicap to ride a finish.
What 2 dead heats in the July, just with great horses, you know.
Yeah, Pocket Power was one of the greatest.
Yeah, and the filly was
that filly, yes, she was fantastic as well. I mean, modern day Pocket Power was outstanding. Really, you know. Dynasty was a great horse too. I mean, he was only beaten once. So I remember Robbie Fradd rode him the first time he ran at Greyville, and he said to me, "You can have a bet on this horse." He said, "Have a few rand on." And he won, and he was last turning for home, and I thought, well, Robbie's off his head now. He's told me to back this horse. Anyway, he finished up winning by a street. Yeah. And I always remember Robbie saying to me, "This horse will never be beaten." And he was only one race wrong. And luckily he had the race. Remember, Felix got ill, and he had the ride on, funny enough, in Dynasty in the July. Yeah,
and he raced wide the whole way.
Well, he said to me, he said, "I didn't ride Dynasty." He said, "I rode the worst race of my life."
Yeah.
He said, "I tried to steady the horse, I couldn't." He said, "In the end, I gave up." Said, "We'll go." Yeah. And he said, "I thought when I let him go, he's going to stop." And he said, he just kept finding. Oh.
Jack, you've obviously chatted to many jockeys and trainers over the years, you know, after races, before races. Are they good judges, jockeys, listeners?
Some of them are.
Yeah.
Some are miserable bastards, you know. But some are pretty good. I mean, modern day guys, Striker Stridham, they're very good. Del Pesh, Marcus, all these blokes, they're good. They talk. Sean Cormack, all nice blokes to talk to after a race.
And are they good judges?
Well, I think so, yes. I think they all
And the
were.
trainers?
The trainers, well, you know, there's Mike and there's Dennis Dreyer.
Yeah.
Dennis is a good man.
Yeah.
He's
You've been around Dennis for a long time.
I remember Dennis was a little boy. He wanted to start a fight outside Roma Lodge when he was a child because somebody set the stables alight after the Met. Sea Cottage ran the Met, ran fourth.
Yeah.
And I remember I was sitting on the balcony of the Cambridge Hotel, and Duncan Alexander called me and said, "Quick, Uncle Jack, come and help. The stables are on fire. We've got to ride the horses out."
Yeah.
So I said, "Okay." So I went across, and we had to take all the horses out and take them down the road to Millard's stable.
Park Lodge, yeah.
Yeah. And
Roma Lodge was Sid's place, was it?
Yeah, that Roma Lodge is famous.
So it was before that, Sid Garrett.
Sid Garrett, yeah. And Sid Lee's uncle.
Yeah.
And Sea Cottage was ridden by a bloke never been on a horse before, policeman. No, he pretty wanted to take the fire was mostly in the 2-year-old section.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So what did Dennis want to start?
And then someone was saying that somebody said they should burn the stable down. We pulled up bloody Sea Cottage in the Met today, and Dennis wanted to kill this bloke. he was a little lighty then.
But I think Ted, he looked after himself.
Oh, Dennis, yeah, he's good. I remember his dad, I was friendly with his dad. He was a starter, Dennis's father. Very nice bloke too, yeah.
Well, the Den worked with the lads forever. That's you know, that was his upbringing, wasn't
That's
it?
right.
Part of the family.
Part of the family, yeah.
And then obviously Jill, his wife, John
Breville's daughter,
yeah.
No, Dennis, Dennis is a good man to talk to.
But he could get in a bit of a rort every now and again. I know that on Friday nights he used to go out, you know, go out there. They had a few fights in those evenings.
I know, he's a good trainer too.
Did you ever get into those gambling evenings where they played 2-ups and all that type of thing?
No, I was once a referee in a bowling match with Sid Lee at 1,000 rand a throw. Him and Wolfie Corkett at the Cambridge Bowling Club in Cape Town.
Yeah.
I was sitting on the red. Come on, you can be the judge here, and they were betting 1,000 rand a throw.
No racing.
No, and matches
so they were
too.
bored.
They were match happy as well. This match game.
Matches. Yeah.
Harold Robertson, the bookmaker.
Well, he was the champion bowler.
Yes,
he would have bowled them to pieces, those two, because they could not bowl with him. Yeah.
But he thought he was a good match player till he bumped Sid Lee's jockey, Popeye, what was his name? He won the Met on Murrayfield.
KO?
His name slips my memory at the moment. He was a great match player. And
well, what's that? You hold 3 matches in your hand. You either take 1, 2, or 3.
Each of you hold, and you
then
have to guess
what
the total is, yeah. Popeye, what was his name?
Popeye? Good gracious, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I could see him now, but I can't think of his name.
I remember Sir Wright and all those guys, you know.
Well, Murrayfield was 66 to 1.
And Bert Hayden, obviously.
That's right.
Yeah.
In fact, Murrayfield ran in the July here, and in a way, he was the cause of Cyril Buckham winning the July.
Yeah.
Because Murrayfield, trained by Harry Katz, an English horse, and Monaster Avon was in Ted Shaw's stable. He had Monaster Avon and another horse. He had favourite at the time, and what's his name? Ernie Pike, and had engaged Basil Lewis to ride Monaster Avon in the July. And I went into Tattersalls like a couple of weeks before, and he said, we're in big trouble. Andrew James, and they were partners.
Yeah.
Andrew James. He said, Basileus wants to get off Monastraven and ride Murrayfield, because Murrayfield had run a good race on the Saturday. So I said, well, let him go. If he wants to ride Murrayfield, let him ride Murrayfield. If his heart won't be on Monastraven, get someone else. So they said, who can we get? So I said, well, there's a good apprentice, Cyril Buckham. Why don't you get him? And they got him, and he won.
And he won.
He won, yeah. And Murrayfield ran fourth.
And Cyril Buckham ended up head of the academy, didn't he?
That's right. He was a riding master when Mace Roberts was an apprentice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a great rider,
He was
Cyril
a good
Buckham.
rider, Cyril, yes. Yeah, he won on Australia. He rode a fantastic race too.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, Guinea Gold was hot pot favourite for that year.
Yeah.
The talking horse, Charlie Berenz, breaking every watch they had, the gallops. Meantime, Monastraven was also, and nobody took any notice of this horse, and he was putting up fantastic gallops. Cocky Feldman was standing next to me in the final gallop. He said, I wish I was on that horse. He said, Bren's on the wrong horse. He said, that horse will win. And he was right.
Just shows you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jack, obviously in all these years of the July, you've seen some phenomenal results, Excise, then Principal Boy with the Gate Crasher.
Yeah, that was an unlucky loser. That was terrible. A shame that they took that race. They had to do it under the rules.
Under the rules.
Oh, they had to.
But distinctly should have won that July.
Yes, he should have.
He was the best horse in the race.
But Gate Crasher, I mean, he was some horse, eh? And he was a brilliant horseman, but he had that habit, and they couldn't stop it. He
just ran out,
shat across the course always.
Only on a right-hand track. On the left-hand track, he was fine.
Cape Town, he won the Guineas in Cape Town.
Yeah.
No, he was fine. But that was terribly, and Surfing Home was unlucky too.
Yeah.
To lose,
Well,
also an objection.
Yeah. He could, but the horse that was unlucky that year, I think, was Pas de Croix. He was the unlucky horse. He got actually taken out.
Yes.
Maingard's horse won at, what is his name? Something Spacewalk or Space...
No, Spacewalk caused the trouble too.
Yeah.
What's the Principal Boy one?
No, I'm talking about the year that Surfing Home got the race taken away.
Oh,
from
that,
him.
yes. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Principal Boy, he ended up getting the race. He went down the inside of the track, but he was never the best horse in the race.
That is Robbie Thompson rode him.
Yeah, absolutely. We still see Robbie Thompson
Robbie's
around.
Yeah.
As we call him, No Toes Thompson.
He was a good rider, Robbie. When he rode for the Oppenheimers, he was a good rider.
Yeah, well, he was Breville's lightweight jockey, wasn't he?
He was very good. Yeah.
Your years have been always as a writer.
Yes, always been a writer.
So you must have written some fantastic stories in your time.
Yeah, I suppose so. When I go back, think about them.
Well, what story sticks in your mind that the Sea Cottage story obviously
the
was
Sea Cottage,
a huge story.
was one of them. That was so sudden the way that happened.
Yeah.
In the morning, and suddenly somebody came. Oh, we rushed out to Newmarket. Esmond Coro was the reporter with me. He did the news story, and we went out, and Eileen Bestel saw the whole incident.
She saw the whole incident.
And Sid was there, and in an absolute panic, shame.
Yeah.
And fortunately, it really didn't affect his preparation all that much, People think, but he still worked, and he ran in July.
Yeah.
And the other horse won, the stable.
Java Head.
Java Head.
Yeah.
And Sea Cottage would have had to break the record to beat Java Head.
Yeah.
Because Java Head ran record time when he won.
But, you said it didn't affect his preparation. It's got to affect you. I know with training horses we see that little things just...
Yeah, it might have been. But he was a laid-back horse,
Yeah.
And as I say, I don't know. It's difficult to say. But because he ran a great race even with,
Great race, yeah. And you know, other stories. What happened when it all broke and what they'd done, and you know,
Sid jumped on the horse's back when he did the weighing enclosure, because that's what Jollified won the year that Sea Cottage did heated. Yeah.
Well, Mike de Kock did that, I think, on Epitombi as well. I think he jumped on his back too. Yeah. Thought he was back in the army.
Yeah.
But stories, they've got to be the people that have done bad things in this industry. That was probably one of the worst things that ever happened.
Yes, I suppose so, yes. I would say that's by far the worst thing that ever happened, yes.
To shoot the July favourites.
Yes.
But they've stopped horses that were July favourites and that, and you know.
Well, you know, Bellarminus was the great wizard in Joburg, the bad man of racing.
Did you know him?
Yes, I knew Joe very well. And funny enough, he loved horses.
He was a wonderful horseman.
He looked after that horse Gambit.
Yeah.
You know, Gambit, you know, they talk about running overseas. Gambit went overseas and won a mile race, which he couldn't go a mile here.
Yeah.
He was a pure sprinter.
Yeah.
He went to England and won a mile race.
Amazing.
And then came back here.
We had horses like we were talking earlier on the show last week with Wolf Power. You know, there have been some wonderful horses that have gone overseas.
There was a horse in Cape Town, I can't remember his name. He went backwards and forwards and he won every time he went over. He went to America. He was a sprinter, Chestnut.
That must have been years ago.
Yes, and yes, it was. I can't remember his name now.
But some of the great horses that went there, Bold Tropic, Top Gallant.
Top Gallant.
Yeah.
Top Gallant won the...
Hawaii was the grass horse of the year.
Hawaii was one of the greatest horses.
Yeah.
You know, he was a funny horse. He didn't like gravel. Yeah. That's the only time he ever got beaten.
Well, he got beaten by a stable companion here in the July, Riverville.
Yeah, well, he got beaten in that race, that 3-year-old race, or the chairman's, I forget the name, they've changed the name now.
Yeah.
Millard's horse won. And he ran second in that race. It was a funny thing, he won the African Breeders here as a sprint race. And he came here with a terrific reputation, which, you know, he'd earned. And Charlie Behrens ran second to him. And Charlie was having a chat to me after the race, and he said, I don't think Hawaii's such a great horse. I said, what makes you think that? He said he was battling to beat me in the African Breeders. I said, Charlie, you know, you're wrong, he is a great horse. And he said, I don't think so. Well, he went to America, broke the grass track record. He sired a Derby winner, Henbit, and a runner-up the one year. Yeah. And I was at the races in Miami at Calder, and there's a horse called Waikiki Wind running by Hawaii. And he won the big race. And the journalists there, they've all got their little offices where they sit, and they wanted to interview me, do a story on me. So I went to sit there, and the bloke said to me, a ridiculous question. He said, do you have thoroughbred racing in South Africa? I said, do you know what's just won that race, Waikiki Wind, the sire, is called Hawaii. I said, Hawaii was bred in South Africa. Didn't you know that? and they didn't. He didn't.
Well, you know, when Mike de Kock arrived at Gulfstream with Horse Chestnut, and he asked the handicapper where he's going to rate the horse when he's going to run in the Bruard, the guy said to him, oh, well, that Zebra of yours, we'll have to give him a low rating, can't be with our horses. And Mike said he was doing handstands when he walked out the office because the guy was talking about his Zebra from Africa. Well, we know what he did off the low rating.
Amazing,
You've seen some things in your life.
Yes, I have.
And
I've met a lot of racing. It's been a wonderful sort of road in my life.
Yeah.
Everybody I've met, you know, I've met some bad guys, but generally racing people are fantastic.
They're bad people in all walks of life, Jack.
Absolutely.
You know,
but the racing people are good. They're amazing.
And you love going racing. I see you there every week.
Yes.
And you still actively partake and enjoy it.
Yes, I'm still doing
It's
still writing stories.
still writing stories, which is fantastic. It's just unbelievable.
Well, I would hate to do nothing.
Yeah. So you'll just carry on doing this.
Well, I've been fortunate because it's something I love, and it wasn't work for me. It was a pleasure to write about racing, to write about the people and the horses. Not like a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. All consuming.
Absolutely, and you've got no hours. You just work when you have to, and I've seen the world through it. You know.
And technology's changed completely, hasn't
Absolutely.
it?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. It's all different now.
And now you can do. You don't even have to spell a word anymore. They've got things, so you don't have to be a good.
I mean, they used to have tapes, to start races. Now they've got starting stalls. I mean, the trainers here threw their hands up. You can't bring these things. They'll shake and shudder, and the horses will fall down, and the jockeys will be hurt. And many years after, would you guys like to go back to those tapes? Oh no, they changed. No. But to start with, they didn't want to have these things.
Changes, change is all encompassing. We're changing Greyville Racecourse.
That's
it's been
right,
like this for over 100 years.
Interesting to see that. Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to alter the whole track, the face of the track and everything. I mean, what's going to happen? It's going to reduce the fields too.
Yeah, well, there's the face of technology and going forward. Jack, we got to cut it here. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and really, long may you carry on doing what you love doing. We love having you around, and thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Jack Ramsey, well, there's some people that are passionate about racing, and there's some people that are damn well born to be in racing, and Jack Ramsey is one of those. He has been a man of great character, and it has been our pleasure to have him on our show, and long may he be with us to keep us informed with all these wonderful stories. Hope you've enjoyed it. From me, James Goodman, and Paul Lafferty, have a great week's racing.